Free-to-play games are great, and not just for us, but the industry in general. Some of the biggest growth we've seen in gaming has been through free-to-play titles, and as the industry has gotten bigger, as PC gaming has grown, as live services have continued to develop and become the norm, it's become a pretty popular move nowadays to go free-to-play. Going from a subscription-based model or a pay-to-play model to a free-to-play model can very much save a dying game. A lot of MMOs have done this in the past. Star Wars: The Old Republic, Guild Wars 2, even WoW and Final Fantasy XIV, for those that haven't already heard, have limited free-to-play trials. Free-to-play brings in so many opportunities and can help bring in larger player bases than were ever possible before. Of course, your game still needs to be good. You still need a solid core and content plan. It's a combination of all these things that help the very best free-to-play games to stand the test of time. But what about making money? Well, it may surprise some of you, but free-to-play games are some of the most lucrative games out there. In fact, a lot of the highest grossing games are free-to-play, some of which you probably haven't heard of: Dungeon Fighter Online, Honor of Kings, Crossfire, and of course, League of Legends and Fortnite. And these numbers are only from 2019, and we've definitely seen a lot of free-to-play releases since then, with games like Valorant and Genshin Impact most definitely bringing in a lot of money. Of course, to bring in all this money, there has to be some trade-offs, whether it's simply selling skins, loot boxes, battle passes, or pay-to-convenience options, or even worse, pay-to-win. It has to be done. If we're going to play a game for free, we kinda accept that we'll deal with some of these trade-offs. Of course, there's a scale for some players, and if the game just isn't good enough to justify dealing with these forms of microtransactions, they'll simply not play. But what's more interesting is, this isn't the only way to bring in additional revenue. What I didn't mention earlier is that a lot of the top grossing games are in fact mobile games. And well, mobile gaming has always been the wild wild west, with some of them having the most egregious microtransactions. But on top of this, it's common to run ads in these games, whether that means taking you out of the game for 30 seconds to earn yourself some in-game credits, or just having them run alongside the game at all times. This, alongside the occasional sponsorships and collaborations, have really helped rack up the dollars for these mobile games. Advertisements and marketing is the lifeblood of mobile gaming, and I'm sure you've seen at least one of your favourite YouTubers do a sponsored ad for a mobile game, perhaps one with legends in it that I won't name because they ain't paying me. But the money these companies will throw at just individual YouTubers or Twitch streamers would seem ludicrous to anyone outside the space. I've heard talks of even six-figure deals for people at the very top. The point being, marketing is everything for these companies. And here we are now, hearing stories about how Sony and Microsoft are looking into the possibility of ads for their own free-to-play games, which honestly comes as no surprise. Reportedly, both companies are looking at these advertisements as a way for developers themselves to make an extra profit that they won't take a cut of, and the approach they're supposedly going to be taking is advertising real-world products in a way that won't disrupt gameplay via in-game billboards. Now, this is by no means a new concept. Companies have tried to advertise their products through gaming for the longest time now. The NES had Yonoid, which was a platformer meant to advertise Domino's Pizza. Yes, this game is meant to make you want to eat a slice of Domino's Pizza. We had Pepsi Man for the PlayStation that was to advertise, yes, you guessed it, Pepsi. Burger King released several games on the Xbox 360. Doritos had Doritos Crash Course, and much more recently, the masterminds over at KFC made the anime dating sim I Love You Colonel Sanders, in which you attempt to date Colonel Sanders as you attend a culinary school, which was probably the most brilliant of all the games so far. And this one got a lot of attention. Of course, the way Sony and Microsoft claim they'll be doing it is actually quite common in sports games. Burnout Paradise had billboards for Obama. We've even seen product placement in more traditional games like Death Stranding, which had you drinking cans of Monster. Final Fantasy XV had a whole quest for Cup Noodle.
Going through all that trouble to make our own custom cup, it's made me appreciate cup noodles even more.
And then Fortnite had the Thanos game mode to promote Infinity War, and even more recently than that, Battlefield 2042 had a billboard for Logitech. Unfortunately, after finishing the billboard though, they never had time to finish the rest of the game. I'm sure there are many more examples of these ad integrations in games, but these digital billboards that we've seen in Battlefield 2042 seem to be the direction companies want to go from now on, though hopefully these ads won't be in $60 unfinished games. Now, free-to-play games like League of Legends and Fortnite have 2 to 4 million active players every single day, and in recent years we've seen gaming explode in popularity as people have been unable to leave the house, and that is a lot of eyes on the screen. So you know what that means, roll in the marketing people. That's not to say they haven't been eyeing the space for a while, but with the promise of even more digital advertising space through the idea of the Metaverse, now is the perfect time to push. For a lot of companies, these digital advertising spaces are potentially a greater opportunity than they even realize with the amount of earned media they can get just for paying for one. I'm willing to bet the majority of people who saw the Logitech ad in Battlefield 2042 weren't as upset at Logitech as they were with DICE and EA for the ad. Then alongside paying for an ad spot, they had people on Twitter and Reddit posted about it, articles written on the ad, all showing images of the billboard itself, all just from one little controversy that they won't see as much backlash from compared to DICE and EA. So for the Logitech marketing team, it was a job well done, pats on the back all round. Truthfully, I think the potential for earned media by buying billboards in games is huge right now, especially if you're a game like Fortnite or Battlefield and you maybe accidentally left the billboard as a destructible object for players for the first few days before then fixing it so players can't break it, because then you'll more than likely get multiple articles written on the ad showing that ad off to everyone. And if this doesn't affect the gameplay in any real way, then players aren't going to be too bothered about it. I've even seen people saying having ads in their games would make the game more realistic, which sounds really dumb to me. I'm not sure if there's anything more jarring to the experience than seeing a giant billboard in the middle of the map dedicated to a real-life product. Perhaps in sports games it wouldn't bother me, but I honestly wouldn't know because I don't play those types of games. So I'm not sure which games need adverts in them to add to the realism. Games like GTA couldn't really do it because their game is built around the parody of a lot of this. Death Stranding definitely takes you out of the experience when Norman Reedus starts chugging a can of Monster, but maybe that does work because it's just so surreal that you're playing a video game where you're Norman Reedus drinking a can of Monster. I do believe these ad integrations can work well when they're done in a way that adds to the experience without taking anything away from the game. The Infinity War Fortnite game mode, for example, gave people a fun game mode to play for a few weeks. Attack on Titan had an ad campaign where they went around adding Attack on Titan events and costumes to MMOs like Arcade and Terra. Rest in peace. So are ads in games a good or a bad thing? Well, if we go off what Microsoft and Sony have said, and it's only going to be implemented into free-to-play games and helps provide the developers a little more income or helps with the upkeep of the game, then that could replace some existing forms of monetization and be a good thing, depending on how it's implemented. Though, more than likely, it's just going to be another form of revenue for the game on top of everything else. And with how expensive the idea of quadruple A games now, I'm not sure how many A's we're on right now, but with how expensive they're all getting, they're going to be looking for more and more ways to guarantee they make as much profit as possible. So who's to say they'll stick to keeping those ads just in free-to-play games? Because EA and DICE certainly didn't. But perhaps they will. Perhaps they'll stay in free-to-play games from Sony and Microsoft at least. But these free-to-play games will make for an excellent testing grounds for selling digital ad space as both Sony and Microsoft push forward towards building even more digital space via their subscription services and the whole idea of the Metaverse. Just imagine how many billboards you could fit into the Metaverse. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw cheaper tiers of PS Plus and Xbox Game Pass featuring ads. Netflix actually just announced that they're planning to do this themselves as I'm recording this, so this is a very definite possibility for the gaming subscription services in the future. Now, whether this will go a step further into more disrupting ads, we'll have to see. From the plans we've heard from Sony and Microsoft, they are both very aware of the kind of reception they're likely to get from players if they implement ads in this way, so they're being very cautious about it, and that's good. You definitely want to be cautious about this. I'm sure if a game ever came out and you had to watch a 30-second ad as you load into a match, or you had to watch ads to earn in-game currency, that it would be panned by the vast majority of people, and hopefully no one would play it. Please don't play it. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I tried not to dive too deep into the Metaverse, NFTs, and all of that, but it all sort of connects together. But if you do want to learn more about NFTs, the Metaverse, and the potential dark future of gaming, feel free to click the video up over there. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff, and let me know what do you think about having ads in your games. And one last thank you to all the Twitch subscribers that help support the channel. Anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
それが世界の運命だ。いつまで守られる側でいる。常に胸を張れ。
カップヌードル15当たる。